good, world? This is the Indie Action Showcase, and we want to welcome you once again, where we premiere the best in the independent film and television action realm. I'm your host, Demetrius Angelo, and this is my partner,
Lamar J. Wingster. What's up, guys? How's everybody out there in movie land? So today we're interviewing a film that Demetrius wrote, The Retrievers, and we're just going to talk a little bit about it. And we have one of the actresses, as a matter of fact, the leading head actress of the film today, Bonatech. But first, let's get with this film. What inspired you to write this?
Well, as you know, we actually got inspired by the John Woo competition on MySpace.
I remember.
He was running a competition, and we said, okay, we're going to do this.
Right, right.
So you told me, you say, write something, and then, you know, we'll collaborate.
Yeah, I remember now, I remember, yeah.
So I said, you know what, let me think about John Woo, guns. But what a lot of people didn't know, that he did some martial arts films with some swords and stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
So I said, okay, let me try to switch it up on him. So we're going to both do the guns, and we're going to do the swords. But we're also going to put our own little twist on it,
right, right.
and use a female lead.
Right.
Because most of John Woo's leads was Chow Yun-fat.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he's famous for.
Right.
So, you know, Bona was already in our camp.
That's
I said,
right.
you know who we can use.
Right.
And I said, you know, let's make it hot.
But let me ask you something. What made you pick Bona?
Well, believe it or not, for about 2 years prior to this, actually maybe a little longer, I was trying to get her to do some other film work with us, but she was busy.
Right.
And fortunately, she'll tell you, but she had some martial arts experience already. And, you know, people with martial arts experience, they understand control. And they understand when you have to use a weapon, you respect the weapon. So I said, okay, who can we train to use this sword?
Right, right.
You know, and who's going to really be prolific at it and be able to pull it off. You know, and she has, you know, good looks as well. So that doesn't hurt. So, as you know, we were saying, we came up with this idea of that old Hong Kong style.
Right.
You know, whereas you have the old triads, but what we did is we made the syndicate because you know we like to make most of our films diverse.
Right, right.
You know, we don't like to leave anyone out.
Right.
So we said, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make the syndicate, and the syndicate was made up of the Italian mafia, the Japanese mafia,
right,
and the Chinese mafia.
Right.
So we had the Yakuza, the triads, and the what we call the Black Hand, which was the Italian mob together, and we called it the syndicate.
Right.
And basically, they were trying to strong arm, I should say, a Chow Yun-fat-like character by abducting one of what we call the retrievers.
Right.
Because what happened was the syndicate, they took over all the black markets and they became, I guess, centralized.
Okay.
And they were trying to run things, but the retrievers was the other end of the force, whereas they cleaned up everything.
Okay.
So basically, the Chow Yun-fat type character used this other girl, which we actually will interview on another time, Noi Noimani, to be an undercover agent, quote, at the strip club.
Right.
Now, why we had to put her at the strip club? Well, that's where they hang out.
Right, right. That's the hangout
that's
spot.
where they hang out.
You know, I usually come in at the tail end of these things when you like write these things up. Now, number one, how long did it take you to write this thing? Because I know I think we had a limited time, right, to do it.
We didn't have much time to do it.
Like, how long
it didn't take me
you?
more than a day to do it, you know, because I'm a fan of the Hong Kong, you know, action as well as all martial arts film. So it didn't take me long to do it. In fact, it was a little shorter. You made it longer. So we said because it would, remember, it only supposed to be 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes, right.
So we said, you know what, let's make it a short film.
Right.
And edit it down to 2.5 minutes. Okay. So basically, we made about a 20-minute film. Right. And we edited down to that. 2.5 minutes. Right, right. Now, you know, to me, that's skills. Now let's talk about who edited the film.
We're not going to talk about me yet, but getting back to, you know, the hard work behind it, because like I always come in at the tail end, especially when you come up with like good stories like this. But what was the hardest part for you to do for this film, as far as, you know, preparing Bona and, you know, some of the other actors in this film?
Well, the good news is we were already in the process of shooting one of your films, I Can Hit You.
Right.
So everybody was pretty much trained.
Okay.
You know, so that wasn't the hard part. Mm-hmm. All we needed to do is prepare Bona to be a featured screen fighter, and to use the live blade, you know, with someone besides me.
Right. But I remember some of the guys that weren't in our camp at that time, you know, as far as
okay, some of those guys, the good news is about that was they were already professional martial artists.
Good.
In the acting industry. So, you know, basically they were just looking for something that they can be a part of,
right.
You know. So that was pretty much the easy part. But when we bring Bona in, I'm going to let her talk about basically the training and, you know, what it took, because, you know, she was the recipient, and, you know, her side is going to sound a lot better than my side. It's going to look a lot better too. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have a trailer, right?
So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the trailer and let you guys see the trailer of The Retrievers.
Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice. Check it out.
So now there's no room for error. We must take the city. Chow Yun will no longer hinder us.
I need you to go get our package in Sing Command.
Does not matter how much Chow Yun is respected.
Where is she?
I know you like that trailer. It's hot, right? Tell me about it later. But anyway, we have Bona Tech on the set with us today.
Hi, Lamar.
Welcome, Bona. How are you?
Good to see you.
All right, all right. So, tell us what it was like training, #1, with Demetrius on this film.
Well, I've been training with Demetrius for, gosh, almost 3 years now, I think. And when we shot Retrievers, I had been studying with him for about 2 years.
Wow.
And we had done Sword for about a year, I think, because we had shot some scenes for I Can Hit You. You know, we had shot a sword fight for I Can Hit You. And I think we had already shot the scene with me and Amy doing a sword fight on the roof as well. So we had already shot 2 sword fights at that point. Okay. So I had some experience with that. And so when the Retrievers project came up, it was just a matter of choreographing the fight and then rehearsing with somebody new. I think that was probably the hardest thing, is we had somebody who had a different style that we hadn't worked with before. And so it was a matter of getting used to each other's rhythms so that we were safe. You know, that's the most important thing when you're doing fight stuff, is to always be safe.
Right.
But I think it went pretty well.
I remember it was talk around the set that the swords were heavy.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was talk around the set. Wait a minute, these things are really heavy. Are we going to really train
because
with
we use real swords.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember the day we shot on the roof, your arms were really like tired.
It's hard.
I was like,
it's hard to do several takes. You know, that's probably one thing that we should work on more when we train is you know, we're practicing to get it right, but one of the things we don't work on is stamina, which you really need for multiple takes of fight scenes.
Right.
You know, so it's one thing to know the choreography, but it's definitely important to have the energy to make it through however long it takes.
Right.
For you to get every shot that you need, you know.
Right. Also,
because you're famous for the one last time.
Well, one more time.
Last time.
You know why? Because
it's the last time at least 10 times.
Yeah, it looks really good. So I'm like, wait, can she do it again? And you know, I want to take a different angle of that. But also, I remember Demetrius getting a real swordsman to do that fight scene.
Yes.
And you know, he was amazed. And you want to talk about that, Demetrius?
He was pretty good, though. I mean, he was good, but I think he was just used to using a different style of sword.
Right.
You know, and I think one of the things I really liked about the training that we got with Demetrius was we would start, when we first started, we would use the rattan swords.
Okay.
Or rattan, I guess they're batons or something like that.
The Filipino sticks.
Yes, which is I think classically what they also use in Asia to train. And then you just move up gradually. You move from the rattan to a wooden sword, and then you get all the choreography down with the wooden sword.
No, you guys went from the rattan. No, the rattan that you were using. You're talking about the kendo sword. But when I first taught you guys,
we used the Filipino fighting sticks.
You used the Filipino. You
Yeah,
taught you
true.
that first, but that gave you your angles. But then remember, you had the rubber.
I don't remember the rubber swords.
Yeah, the rubber ones.
See, it was so long
kept
ago.
splitting.
I
It was
don't
long
remember.
ago.
The rubber ones. Then we got the kendos.
Uh-huh.
Then we went into the boakins. And that's what
Yes.
me and you used mostly,
Yes.
the boakins. And then, of course, we had to test everything out with the real deal.
Yeah.
But just so that everyone knows, we file it down.
Yes. They're
So
not
that it's
actually
not
sharp.
We file it down. You can still get hurt, but we file it down. And the good news is we do our wide shots, but we get to break it down segment by segment. And speaking of segments, let's go to one of the clips, the action clips from the Retrievers.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Who the hell are you? Where's Chow?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, guess nobody's gonna miss you then.
恥をさらすな恥をよ。あまあやってくれたのわしの島で。
叩きてやら。
やってみんな。
that was gunplay.
I think I mean, the thing I have to say is I always find it pretty amazing what you are able to accomplish with no budget whatsoever. I mean, we don't have money for blood or to make things explode on the set, you know. So it's all about the angle and the editing and things like that. But it's still, I mean, you do a really good job with that.
Well, it's like we said in a previous show. We believe, we have faith, and we believe that God just allows us to do a lot of things that we need to do when we do things, and we both pray and say, Lord, we know we don't have this money, but you know, give us the favor to do these things. And this is what we do. Like, we have no, you know, real background as far as going to NYU to do filming or a big editing studio to learn how to edit. We just pray, and you know, God put these things in our hands, and we work with it. And you know, this is where we're at today. Some of the independent filmmakers nowadays, they look at us and say, hey, how do you make your stuff look the way you do? Where do you get these shot angles and this for, and how do you do that? And we're just blessed. That's the only thing I can say is we're just blessed on what we do. And we're blessed to have you and everyone else that's in our camp.
I feel really lucky to have worked with you guys.
So now I have a question. Was that your first time using a gun?
Yes, and it was intimidating because a lot of the other actors, there were two that had training with guns. I think it was I don't remember their names.
Logan? The first one that you met, that you fought with the shot was Logan? At
least two of them knew what they were doing with the guns, and so I felt like, well, I really need to make sure that I get this right, because they're gonna know. they're gonna know, okay, she just looks, that's totally not right. So, and I would ask them, I'd be like, am I holding this right? Am I loading this right? You know, and that was, it was helpful to feel the support coming from them. That was kind of important, because I just wanted to make sure that I got it right.
Right.
Because I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. I was like,
you look like a natural.
Yeah, you look
so
really
you must have thought about shooting a whole lot of people, because you just shooting it like it was something you just did often.
Right, at 2 at a time at that. Yeah. So it was really great to see you do the work you did and do your martial arts stuff with the weapons that you had at hand. So we appreciate it. We really do. So
it was fun.
Let's give her a great hand clap for that, guys.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about some of your other action experience apart from us. On a later date, we'll bring you back and have you talk about I Can Hitsu and 3 Times Harder. But let's talk about some of the outside work that you've done in theater and some of the opportunities you've had for action.
Right. Well, I just finished doing the Shakespeare Lab at the Public Theater, which was a 12-week intensive. And we had a lot of different classes, like text, monologue, poetry, scene study, and one of the classes we had was stage combat. And it was towards the last few weeks of the program, but because I had trained with you for 2 years, and I also had 2 years of karate, I felt very comfortable with you know, I've done stage combat and other things as well. So when the time came to do our scene, which I was playing Joan of Arc, and she has quite a few fight scenes. I think it's Henry VI, Part 3. And it was very much a collaborative process with the fight choreographer. And she would ask me, okay, what do you think Joan is doing in this part of the scene? And I would say, well, I think she's probably showing off or doing a flourish for the king to show him that she has strength. And she would say, well, what do you think? What do you want to do? And I would say, well, let's do a kick series. And then I actually used a series of kicks that we do when we practice.
Okay.
I did the she called it a hitch kick, but it's the jumping kick, front kick, jumping kick, and it just looks good. It's very showy.
Right.
And so we did that as a flourish, and I was able to just I actually did a lot of the choreography myself, or suggested a lot of the things that we did, because you know, she would say, okay, he's going to come in and do this, and you know, after 2 years, there's a lot of muscle memory in the body as to, you know, things that we've worked on in class. So I would say, well, you know, if someone was coming at me like that, I would probably do this step, which for Demetrius, it's a number 7 step, which means you sweep back with your left foot and you do an inside block like this. And I'd say, well, I would try to disarm him like this. And it was, I mean, our process went very smoothly and very quickly. And we had one of the we had one of the best fights. We had the best fight.
Okay.
We had the best fight
That's right.
out of all of the scenes, and it was because I was able to bring all of this experience to the table and say, well, I'm able to do this, so let's put this in. And there was a little bit of dagger work because I did a little disarm, and then I was like, well, I know a couple of flourishes because that's something that you taught me. We did the Don Omar video,
Sure.
so I just remembered the opening flourish to that. So I disarmed him with the swords, and then did a little pose. And
wow. So coming to our class is like school.
Yeah, it is. It is. 2 years of training is a lot. So
that's wonderful. So basically, you brought a lot of your past experience to medieval. I guess would you call that medieval?
It's Elizabethan.
Elizabethan.
Yeah, and
so it's more of a crossover now.
It is more of a crossover. I mean, I know that the sword style that they do is Elizabethan. But they allowed me the liberty of bringing my personal experience to it because I said, this is what I know, and in this limited space of time. So let's play with it.
So how much of your personal experience do you bring to your films? Since you mentioned it,
You mean with the?
Be it just a simple acting role or even within the action, because like I said, everything's believable. So is this something that's already in you, or something you have to research?
I definitely think when I was taking karate, even just in terms of learning what you're doing, they teach you even in those classes. It has nothing to do with film, but they teach you about presence.
Okay.
And it's your fight presence. And so that was something that I had in my mind even when I first started doing karate, and I was 28. When I first started, so I was already.
Don't tell your age. You're supposed to
Well, I'm just saying, I was.
She really 24. She was 28 in another life. She's 24.
I'm not ashamed of my age.
I'm 30.
I don't care.
He's 32.
That's
like how we do it.
Something like that.
So I'm just saying, I really haven't been doing it all that long. It's not 10 years of training, but you can
You do some movie magic.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
It's enough for some movie magic. Yeah.
And I hear you have some commercials, so let's talk about what commercials we're going to see you in.
There is one for Mercy College that's running locally, and there's one in the southeast for Food Lion. So Food Lion's not really up here, so you're not going to see it. But
like down south.
Yeah, and then if you're in Ohio, there's one for a bank. I don't even remember what bank it is, but
the question I have. If you make it, you're gonna leave us?
No, never. We'd figure out some way to work on another project. Absolutely.
Hey, bring us on a Mercy commercial. Mercy College commercial.
Mercy
I don't
College.
care. Yeah, we do some martial arts or something like that.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe kickbooks or something.
There you go.
Hey.
Well, we try to be loyal
to
all of our actors. As we mentioned, she's in 2 other projects.
Yeah.
Actually, she's actually in 3 other projects
of ours. Yeah.
But
I've been
she
in
has
almost everything.
Almost everything.
Almost everything. Yeah.
And we want her in everything.
Yeah, the music video.
And if you don't like it, it's too bad. We want her there.
We want her there.
That's right.
She's one of our best.
That's absolutely.
She's one of our best.
She's one of the crafts best.
That's right.
We'll put it that one of the crafts best.
That's why we put you in everything, Bona. Change your hair and everything.
We don't want you action fans to be upset now. If you are an independent filmmaker and you do action film, hit us up on myspace.com/indieactionshowcase or youtube.com/indieactionshowcase and let us know what you're doing, and then we'll have you sitting here. You ain't gonna look as good as Bona, but we'll put you here.
We'll put you here.
And if you got actresses, that almost, resemble. Now, they don't have to resemble. If you have action actors that want to come on, we'll be happy to have you and to interview you as well. So, Bona, is there anything else you want to tell us about your career and what you're doing and for us to look out for?
I think good things are coming in this next year, so yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you can also see the Retrievers on MySpace, myspace.com. The Retrievers Fire and Ice. So myspace.com/The Retrievers Fire and Ice. And as well as
3 Times Harder.
3 Times Harder.
Which will be out at the end of this year. And let me tell you, it's looking really good. Bona has a part in there that she plays a real tough.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, she's like really tough and a little different from Ike and Hitsu and the Retrievers, but she's really, really tough. And they make me proud of you, girl. Trying to tell you. She's my partner in the film.
Yes.
But anyway, Bona, I think we've run
Thank
out of time.
you, Lamar.
And we sure do appreciate you coming all the way to Westchester to our show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have you back because, you know,
Yeah,
you
I'll
got
be
to
here
talk
for Ike and Hitsu.
Got to talk
So-
about Ike and Hitsu.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to have to talk about 3 Times Harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll see me again.
And I'm sure they won't be unhappy when they see you again.
No, I don't think so.
So, Indie Action fans, we thank you for joining us once again. And we'll hope you tune in once again for the Indie Action Showcase. And like I said, don't forget to hit us up online, www.myspace.com/Indie Action Showcase and youtube.com/Indie Action Showcase.
Yep. Once again, I'm Lamar J. Wingston and
Demetrius Angelo.
And I'm Bona Tech.
And we're out of here.
come see us again. Peace.